What's up, how y'all doing? So I'm out here this morning catching this time lapse, but welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be comparing the iPhone 13 Pro against the Sony FX3. We're going to compare the 24 frames per second, the 30 frames per second, and the 60 frames per second. And yes, I'm going to be using ProRes proxies in the Filmic app in order to do this. So I hope you guys stay tuned and enjoy the video. Let's get into it. Okay, what you are seeing here is the 10-bit footage out of the iPhone 13 Pro with the Filmic Pro app. We're going to add a little bit of color grading now. And this is the iPhone 13 Pro with 10-bit and the natural profile on the Filmic Pro app. And we're sitting at 5500 Kelvin, and I think it looks pretty good. 4K 24, 4K 30. Alright guys, what is up? I appreciate you if you have been watching the whole video so far, but this is what both of these cameras look like in 24 frames per second. We have the Sony FX3 set to 24 frames per second, 1/50th. We are at f20 just because I wanted to stop it down and not use an ND filter on this, considering that the iPhone doesn't have a ND filter on it. How does this look? Here's a little motion blur. We got some shadows, we got some highlight. I've tried this test about 3 or 4 times, and the iPhone, in some situations, the footage starts falling apart and it looks just kind of yucky. So I'm trying it here to try to see what it will look like on this type of, shadows, highlights, and just a little greenery behind me. Most of my shots that I've tried like this has been down at the beach or in my backyard, and it was just real gray that day, so it did not look that great. But this is 24 frames per second. I'm going to switch it over to 30 frames per second and see what you think. Match. All right guys, so now we are at 30 frames per second. How does this look? I know the iPhone so far, the iPhone 13 has been giving me some pretty satisfying looks. I would compare it to somewhat of the new GoPro 10. I have not got that camera myself, but from the footage that I see online, the iPhone 13 kind of reminds me of that. Now, I have messed around with some of this 10-bit footage coming out of the iPhone, and you can color grade it. You cannot lay a thick color grade on it, but I have noticed that I have been able to push the colors around somewhat. Now, on my iPhone 11 Pro, you could not do that, or at least I couldn't do it. I'm still learning color grading, but for the most part, the image would just fall apart completely. So that is one plus definitely for the iPhone 13 Pro. So guys, this is 30 frames per second. Like I said, I think it looks pretty good. Little motion blur. Disclaimer, I'm not no Gerald Undone. I definitely don't know the ins and outs like he does. Excuse me. I definitely do not know the ins and outs like he does, but I love cameras and I'm trying to make it on YouTube. So I am trying my hands at different things like reviews, tutorials, and things like that. And I'm just learning a lot right now and enjoying myself. So I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you are, hit the like button and think about hitting the subscribe button down below. But I think that's it for this video, guys. I've showed you motion. I've showed you HD 60 frames per second comparing both cameras together. And I have showed you 24 and 30 frames per second. Guys, I appreciate you watching the video. If you made it this far, if you did, leave a comment down in the description saying I made it. All right, guys, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.